This episode of the A.T.TIPSCAST is sponsored by TextHelp Systems, provider of award-winning literacy solutions including Read and Write Gold and Fluency Tutor. For more information, go to www.texthelp.com. That's www.texthelp.com. Welcome to the A.T.TIPSCAST, exploring and investigating the implementation of assistive technology in public schools. I'm your host, Chris Bouguet. This is episode number 62, and since the last episode didn't really have an intro, I'll say it here for the record, this is the second episode of Season 4. This episode was recorded on August 28, 2010. On September 11, 2001, I was working as a speech-language pathologist in an elementary school in one of the suburbs surrounding Washington, D.C. I, like the rest of America, remember exactly where I was when I heard about the attacks. I'll never forget the look on our guidance counselor's face when she came into the kindergarten room and whispered to me that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center. As that day wore on, and in the days that followed, America saw itself pulled together as one nation as we all leaned on one another to continue forward. During those days, again, like the rest of America, I wondered, what could I do to help? In the years that have followed, educators have had the difficult task of trying to teach about that day. Over the years, the resources teachers can draw upon have been growing, but it still remains a difficult task. How does one go about teaching about 9/11? I was recently invited to attend a press conference held via a webinar format that helped simultaneously answer both of those questions. I present to you now A.T.TIPS 112 through 115. President Obama deemed 9/11 as a national day of service, where individuals across the country can come together in the spirit of unity to volunteer or contribute to a nonprofit organization.
Let us renew the true spirit of that day. Not the human capacity for evil, but the human capacity for good. Not the desire to destroy, but the impulse to save and to serve and to build. On this first National Day of Service and Remembrance, we can summon once more that ordinary goodness of America to serve our communities, to strengthen our country, and to better our world.
A.T.TIP 112, mygooddeed.org, in conjunction with a variety of other partners, are working to make it even easier to contribute and participate in volunteerism. Right now, the URL mygooddeed.org takes you to 911dayofservice.org. On this website, users can search a database of every nonprofit organization based on descriptive keywords, such as homelessness, animal rescue, or building homes. Users can essentially do a search based on what's important to them. Users who already know of an organization that they'd like to support can enter the exact name of the charity or group. It's amazing just how many organizations exist, both locally, around each state, and across the nation. Seriously, while exploring the website, I did a search for ferrets, and there were too many results to count. With that many search results for ferrets, I'm sure you'll find something of interest to you. Once you've picked an organization you'd like to support, click the support button next to the cause of your choice to explore different ways you can help. Some of the possible ways to provide support include joining a list of users who are showing support, sharing that you're showing your support via Facebook or Twitter, making a financial donation, inviting other friends to support the cause, and requesting information about upcoming volunteer opportunities. One interesting feature is that users collect karma points for every positive action taken. The karma points are just that, points. They're nothing more than tally marks. At this point, users don't actually get anything but bragging rights about how many good deeds they've done. But that got me thinking about intra-school competitions, like classrooms competing against one another for which can get the most karma points. Then that got me thinking about inter-school competitions, where two rival principals bet on which school can get the most karma points. Another idea might be for educator competitions, where the 5th grade teachers challenge the 4th grade teachers to a duel. I've seen this done before in schools for weight loss competitions or walkathons. A competition centered around collecting karma points and doing good deeds could be done much the same way. I should mention that I believe you have to be age 13 to have an individual profile, which is, of course, free. Let me recommend that you check out the website mygooddeed.org and see how you, your students, your school, and your family can get involved. It costs nothing and it seems like you can do some good. At the very least, it can be used in a lesson on citizenship. Speaking of lessons, the website also features lesson plans, videos, and photos related to service learning in 9/11. The format for the website allows you to read a brief 2 to 3 paragraph description of the lesson plan before downloading. The lesson plans are accessible in PDF formats and include extension activities. You'll also find a bunch of helpful links with resources about 9/11 as well as free downloadable project toolkits. The toolkits are also in PDF format but contain pictures, timelines, and more materials beyond just a text-based lesson plan. If you, or your classroom, or your school has a blog or wiki, or really any sort of online presence, you can also grab badges from mygooddeed.org to display the National 9/11 Day of Service logo. During the press conference, other resources were shared that were useful for teaching about service and 9/11, but in the interest of brevity, I'm only going to briefly mention them here. I encourage you to check out A.T.TIP 113, the Hands-On Network, over at handsonnetwork.org, which is another nonprofit organization with a focus on service. I also encourage you to check out scholastic.com and search for 9/11 resources. When I did a search for 9/11 on scholastic.com, I found over 200 resources, including articles, information on books, lesson plans, unit plans, and more. Furthermore, if you go to A.T.TIP 114, scholastic.com/mygooddeed, you can sign up to receive new lesson plans to help students reflect on 9/11 in a constructive way, inspiring them to adopt causes and take positive action through other community service projects and good deeds. Many of the materials you receive were developed by educators, and Scholastic reports that over 3,500 educators have already signed up to receive the materials. The representative from Scholastic specifically mentioned that they realize that not every student learns in exactly the same way, and have attempted to provide a wide variety of materials to meet the varied needs of individual classrooms. Finally, A.T.TIP 115, national911memorial.org, provides fantastic multimedia resources for learning about 9/11 and the events that have followed. You'll find photos, artwork, videos, webcasts, and podcasts, as well as teaching guides, all from the National September 11th Memorial and Museum. I think you'll find what you need there to provide a multimodal approach to presenting the information. Using all of these resources, educators can teach about the events that took place on 9/11, and more importantly, share the lessons of service and volunteerism that a unified country took away from those tragic events. I hope the beginning of the new school year finds you well, and I hope you choose to get involved in some level of service. If you do, I'd love to hear about it. Share what you're doing, what your class is doing, what your students are doing, what your school is doing, or any or all of those by sending me an email at A.T.TIPSCAST@gmail.com. If you'd like to make a little audio clip or have your students make a little audio clip and send it to me to encourage others to get involved, I'd be happy to include it in a future show. Or maybe you'd like to send a little audio clip of your students telling about their service. I'd love to play that in a show too. As always, I'll have links to everything mentioned in this episode over at AT.TIPSCAST.wordpress.com. Until next time, may all your interventions be inclusive and may all your strategies be supportive.